Welcome to NRL 360 Rugby League from every angle. Joining me again, the great Gorden Tallis. That's been the journos in. Paul Crawley and Dean Ritchie and Knights in crisis as speculation intensifies around Kalyn Ponga and their coach Adam O'Brien. What is the latest?
The latest is that the club continues to say it's speculation, but it's out there that the coach is in serious trouble. He'll be lucky to stay on past the end of the season, and the moment the word starts spreading that Ponga's looking at options, it tells you that he's on his way.
Certainly the suggestions out of Newcastle today, Braith, were that the fears are increasing that Kalyn Ponga won't be there next year. Some Newcastle officials desperately tried to find this mysterious New Zealand manager today. They found out his identity, but they couldn't find him. He wouldn't return calls. And certainly there's a growing speculation that he will end up in French rugby or Japanese rugby. But I am told quite categorically that he will not be at all interested in playing for the All Blacks.
Why is that?
He just doesn't want to, as I understand it.
What about another league team?
That would depend, Braith, on whether the Newcastle Knights allow that to happen. He's still got 2 more years to go on his existing deal. I'd be surprised. I think Kalyn Ponga wants to change. I think he wants to head overseas. And I think somewhere in France would suit Kalyn.
The bit of cynic in me is a bit of Sonny Bill Williams go over to Japanese or French rugby and come back to the side that he's been linked to. Like everybody has mentioned, the Roosters. A chance on that?
Oh, it's always a chance when you know Nick Politis is involved. Yeah. But he'd have to get a release. I think no matter where he goes in the world... So you think they'll release
him to go to rugby?
I think they would release him to go to rugby if that's Kalyn's wish, given the service that he's given to Newcastle and the Newcastle community. But I don't think there would be any release to go to the Roosters.
But what Gordy says would be a genuine issue, because if he goes over and has a short stint in rugby and then, say, comes back next season midway through, does the NRL grant him permission to play for another club, or do they hold firm? Because the problem is, there's Phil Gould was out there last night saying, you'd hate to see him go to a loss to Rugby League. And there's no doubt in the world other clubs would want to do that if he is an available player. Maybe the Knights, though, see it as an opportunity to cut their losses. It frees up, $1.4 million in the salary cap. They could go looking for whether it be a halfback, a hooker, a middle, for the same amount of money, and move Fletcher Sharp to one.
But who do they buy? And we'll get to all that soon. Despite all the headlines, it was business as usual in Steel City, according to Brabham Best.
Yeah, there's a bit going on outside these walls, but I guess that's the media, and it comes with the job. But us in the playing group, we haven't looked too much into it. We all know it's a business at the end of the day. Coach is still coaching, KP's still here, so until it comes from them, then we'll know.
So you haven't heard anything from either of those?
No, I haven't heard anything yet.
Let's start with Kalyn Ponga. Are they getting value for money for him so far?
No, they're not. Look, go back to 2023, the final 9 rounds of the season. On his way to winning the Dally M medal, he was unbelievable. We all know what a great player Kalyn is when he's at his very best, but value for money, he hasn't averaged. I think 1 year he might have played 20 games. The rest of the seasons, he hasn't aimed up for what his talents and what his pay grade suggests.
He's clearly an elite player, but 1.4 million crawls, you're right. I don't think he's given them consistent value for money. He has the odd game here and there, Gorden, where he looks like one of the all-time great players, but consistently over a sustained period, they just don't get the value.
Yeah, not all his fault, and it hasn't been, being out of form. I think the injuries
as well.
Yeah, he had a lot of help.
Fullback.
He had the head injuries, and then obviously he's been getting a lot of lower limb injuries as well. But certainly consistency. If you look at someone like a Tedesco, you don't think that they've got the value for money.
But even without injury this year, like if you go and look at his performances for Newcastle this year, he's been way below his best. Yeah. And even at Origin level this year, I thought his first 2 games were a long way from what you expect from Kalyn Ponga, and it would have been really interesting to see if Billy would have stuck with him for 3, because he didn't deserve to be in that team.
It was a bit of an indifferent year so far for Kalyn, and I said it leading up to Origin 2, and then after Origin 2, I wouldn't have been surprised if they did drop him, because Billy was making big calls and he wasn't good in both Origin games, really. He was okay in game 1. He was poor in their win in game 2. But then he had probably his best game of the year against the Dolphins after that game too, and I thought, okay, this is looking good. He'll get picked for game 3, and there's a good opportunity for him there. So should he repay the Knights though? Should he? Does he owe the Knights?
Well, he said when he was negotiating his last deal and he went and met with Bennett. Remember, he had that meeting with Bennett, and they weren't impressed with the way the hard way Bennett went about the meeting and the truths that were spoken. He said, "I want to go back to Newcastle and I want to win a premiership with the Knights." Well, has he achieved that? Because he got his 2-year extension that takes him through for another 2 years after this, and he walks out without doing what he said. In saying that, because he's not aiming up to his pay packet, it is an opportunity for Knights to use that salary and try and build in another direction. You know what? I got thinking about it today and I thought to myself, 2 months ago, this would have almost worked at the perfect timing for the Knights because you had a guy like Sexton on the market, you had Reid Marnie on the market, you would have got
Fogarty.
2 for the price of 1.
Fogarty was on the market for the Raiders.
And it would have been the perfect time now at this part of the season and who's on offer for next year. If he is to go, it kind of does leave him in the lurch.
It's bittersweet, I think, because if he goes to another club, you could see him killing it. But Bulldog, before we unpack this any further, a short message from your biggest supporter.
Unfortunately, I can't speak on, is it Dennis the Bullfrog Richie? Dennis the Bullfrog Richie?
Well, there he is, the great Andre. We haven't spoken for a while, Braith.
He changed your nickname forever.
I get more bullfrog than bulldog, so for that, Andrew, I say thank you. So to Andrew Ponga, if Kalyn goes, you can go as well. Ta-da, Andrew. Oh, ta-da, Andy.
You get Dennis as well.
I get Dennis as well. I get it all.
But
I get worse off you and Braith.
You look like a Dennis.
You think the Knights would be happy to see the back of him, do you, or not?
Oh, I'm not saying that, Braith, but I think they could get more value for their $1.4 million a year.
Who would they buy, though?
No, where and who?
Well, I think they'd be looking at either a halfback or in the halves where they've
They
struggled all
bought
year.
him. They bought Dylan Brown to play that.
Well,
Yeah,
okay,
well,
there's
let's
one,
be
but I
fair
still
to
think
him.
there's another spot there.
Well, let's be fair to him. Dylan Brown has shown no signs of being a chief playmaker, a number 7, does he? Like what Mitchell Moses, he's had an opportunity in recent times. And he just hasn't taken on that responsibility at Parramatta.
Dylan is not a half.
So they need a halfback.
They've spent
That's exactly what they need.
1.3 to 1.4 on him a year now for the next 10 years. They need a genuine 7. Who would you go for?
Well, like I said, Sexton, if he would have been available a month or 2 ago, he would have been the perfect buy. Reid
he
Marnie
was.
would have been a great buy for him.
But he
because
has been
Brayley's on his
available.
way down to Canberra next year.
He has been available.
Yes, but they didn't know at that stage that Kalyn was potentially going to walk out at the end of the season, did they?
Yeah, but they still needed a halfback.
Yeah.
Kalyn's not going to go into the number 7.
Yeah, but salary cap wise, freeing up $1.4 million opens up a lot of
They
opportunity.
got a lot of money
but then-
for a halfback.
Yeah.
And you know, can they pinch one? Do they get the next up-and-coming young gun? Like,
A couple of those
He's got
Roosters
big
One
boys.
of the Roosters boys.
yeah, they
Just
could.
throwing it out there. If Kalyn Ponga leaves and goes to play rugby overseas, what's his legacy? Does he go down as an NRL great? I don't think I can put him in that category.
Oh, potentially he could have been. I think.
I don't think he's
a very good
he's
player.
reached that level.
I think he's a very good player. He's played great at State of Origin. He's played really good at every level. Probably just not as consistent as some of the greatest playmakers, but he has been a good player.
Oh, he's a great
He's a very
player.
good
Has he been a great captain for Newcastle? Is another question I reckon that you look at and you think, fairly or unfairly, when you think of Kalyn, you often go back to the strawberry milkshake quote when Nathan Brown's job was on the line at the time, and I reckon it's a problem at the club at the moment. Is they've gone so far away from the DNA that made the Knights so successful. Like when you look back through all the great Knights players, they worked to that Newcastle culture, that hard-working, down-to-earth sort of blokes. And to me, there's still players in that system who represent what that's about. But I think from a leadership perspective, and I think I'm going up to the chief executive, through to the coach, through to the captain, I think they've lost their way. Like you go back to the chiefs of the world and the Johns brothers, the Gidleys, you know, Robbie McCormack, Mark Sargent, all those blokes Mark Glanville, who typified what Newcastle are about. And I think that's where they need to get back as a culture at that club.
Now, if the Knights move on O'Brien, Are they smart enough to pick the right replacement? Crawls?
Well, I think
Dog?
it's a must because I don't think Adam... Look, I'll preface this by saying he's done a very good job. They've made the finals 4 out of the last 5 years, and I think he's been hard done by if they do give him the boot. But they've finished 7th, 14th, 5th and 8th under Adam O'Brien. So the concern I have, Gordy, is that is he the man to get them to the next level?
The next level.
Which I'm talking weeks 2 and 3 in the finals. Based on what we've seen, no, he hasn't. Or no, he can't. Albeit he's got them there, but I'm just worrying whether they stagnate in week 1 of the finals, and that's all the juice he can get out of the orange.
Well, obviously they're concerned about that. That's why they look like they're going to move him on. It's not 100%, of course, but it looks like they will. Who do you think takes this? Who's the right man for the job? And are they going to make the right decision?
Well, like you said, are they going to make the right decision? Do you have trust in their administration, given some of their decisions in recent times, that they're going to make the right decision? Because the concern for me, like you look at Adam O'Brien, if Adam O'Brien would have started his head coaching career at a different club, look at the guys like, would Trent Robinson be a 3-time premiership winning coach if he didn't start at the Roosters, say he started at the West Tigers? When Cameron Ciraldo was kicking off his career, he had an opportunity to go to West Tigers, but he chose the Bulldogs because of what was there, Gus Gould, the system, and he thought, there's more chance of me having success there.
Your answer is Wayne Bennett at a bottom club at Newcastle.
My concern...
To Wayne Bennett at the Broncos or at the Dragons.
Yeah, well, my concern with the Knights at the moment is, are the leadership capable of knowing what the right decision is, firstly? And secondly, when that coach arrives, will they give him the power to take control of that club? Which would be the concern if it was an inexperienced young coach that hadn't been there and he walked into that environment at the moment, you just wonder if he'd be suffocated by the power above him.
Crawls the bloke on the right there. He's your man. He'll be the next Newcastle coach. That's the mail I'm getting. Blake Green, highly regarded in Newcastle, well liked, and a coach of immense potential. I think you'll find he will be the man. I did a bit of digging today. Adam O'Brien, I think you'll find Braith is safe for this year. I asked some well-placed sources, is there any chance he could survive next year? They didn't seem to think that would be the case, but I don't think they'll sack him mid-season. That all obviously depends on the results over the next 7 or 8 weeks.
You say he's your man.
That's the mail
Braith's
I'm
question,
getting.
is he the right man?
We won't know till he coaches.
Because going back to the original point, it's just that he hasn't got the experience to walk in there and take control. That would be my concern. Like, you've got a guy like Brad Arthur
out there. He's been at the club, Crawl, so he understands.
He's been at the club, and as I understand, he's the attack coach at the moment.
This is what I don't understand. If you're the assistant coach and you're going to step up and be the next coach, aren't all your ideas out there? Helping or pulling in the same
I don't understand who you guys want as coach. If you don't want someone internally, do you want an outsider? Do you want a Newcastle DNA person? Who do you want?
Well, it's not a matter of who I want. It's who might be best suited. And if I was looking at where the Knights are at the moment, I would probably think an experienced coach would be a better fit for them to potentially tell the other blokes to rack off and let me take charge.
Well, Brad Arthur's
a guy like Brad Arthur would be perfect. If you go back through Brad Arthur's history at Parramatta, he took over a club that had won a wooden spoon. They had terrible boardroom dramas, salary cap dramas. He was the only guy that put his head up through that entire stage, and brick by brick, he built a team that got to a grand final against Penrith, and after that, it kind of fell apart, didn't it? But I think he's got the runs on the board that suggests to me he could do a mighty job up there.
I know they're a big fan of Blake Green. I've heard that coming out of the club for a long period of time, and I think you're right. You make a great point, but I think you're on the money. I think Green is front and centre and probably favoured to get it. Now, Knights in damage control over Alex McKinnon gaff. Now, Dave Riccio wrote this story this afternoon, I believe, in the Daily Telegraph. Well, I think it was on the website. But what's happened here, Crawls?
Very sad. So Dave Riccio reported today that Alex turned up at the Knights game against the Storm on the weekend, paid his own way in, sat on the hill, and unbeknownst to him, before the game, I think Dave wrote that someone had pointed out that there was a charity promotion going on at the other end of the field involving a spinal charity. And I think it was just the lack of taste involved here, because it was a game against the Storm, and you go back, what was it, 13 years or 11 years now, and Alex suffered his injury against the Storm, and it's just a poor choice. Like, doesn't Alex McKinnon deserve not to pay his way into a game? And he's not the one blowing up about this, but it's just the poor taste all over. Like, surely the Christ that bloke should be in that, should have 2 seats set aside for him and his family every week.
That's a great point. I think the Broncos have different tiers. If you play a certain amount of games or whatever, I get 2 tickets for the rest of my life. I think if you play 300 games, you get 2 grand final tickets for the rest of your life. If you've sacrificed yourself playing for a club the way he has, wouldn't you think he has family season tickets for the rest of his life? Isn't that what Newcastle would owe him?
You know, I don't know the intricate details with this, but I see it as a complete oversight. And it kind of explains why clubs are in the position they are. You know, like, I know clubs that I've been had to deal with in the past, played for, whatever it may be, had relationships with. It stands out the ones that are successful because this would never happen. You know, like it's like every ex-player, and especially in Alex's position, would always be granted any tickets they wanted, any jerseys they needed, bring kids in, family, friends. You know, it's just not an issue. You've just got constant contact with the front desk, and there's normally someone that looks after you 24/7, and you wouldn't end up in this situation as a club.
Should he even have to ask too?
They should be ringing him.
They should be ringing him. And if you go back to
get embarrassed.
They would. And go back to my point about the Knights' DNA. There would have been a time at that club where this wouldn't have happened. And you're spot on, Braith, and now it does happen.
Let's cut to the chase. This starts and stops with Phil Gardner. He is the CEO. We all get caught up in our own busy worlds, but there is a thing in rugby league called some sensitivity. He deserves that. And he deserves to be lauded for the courage that kid showed while playing for that club, and for him to have to pay to sit on the hill when Phil Gardner is the CEO, and he can blame who he likes. It starts and stops with him.
Yeah. And then with the bad taste in respect to the spinal charity on the day they're playing the Storm, like, it's just, it's weak as
no attention to detail in many ways, you know, in many ways. All right, let's take a look at the ins and outs for round 20 thanks to Sportsbet, and there are a few big ones this week. All right, Gordy. Out of the way, champ. Townsend replaces injured Savala for the Roosters. Cleary and Yo rested for South's clash. Walker out for the season, and Dodd, he gets a start this week on the bench. Dylan Brown dropped to 18th man for Parramatta. Galvin to halfback. Sexton dropped. That's the big one. Taylor May to make club debut at centre for the West Tigers. And Cameron Ciraldo's decision to put Lachie Galvin in the 7 had plenty of support in Belmore today.
I said it before, Lockie's here, pretty much the first person here every day, working hard in his game, and then on the field he's been really chasing excellence, and he gets his shot this weekend. Obviously you check on Toby, and Toby's a great person, team first mentality. He was get on with it. He was out there today ripping in for the Berries side, helping us get better, so yeah.
Yeah, excited. He's been playing good footy. We know he's a good player. And, he's got the call-up this week, and we hope he does a great job for us. Toby's a good mate of all of ours, obviously, and that's just part of the game, and it's hard for him, and, we're all going to be there to support him.
It's been building all year, and they have finally made the decision. He has been the talk of the town, the talk of the NRL, Lachie Galvin, and we said last night, if you're going to pull the trigger, then pull it and bang. Ciraldo's done it straight away. Galvin into the 7 jersey. Toby Sexton dropped. Thoughts?
I think that finally Cameron Ciraldo's reached the point where he's said, I've got to make a call here, and he's made it. I don't think this is a week-to-week like we've seen in the last month. I think this is full-time.
This is the future.
This is the future. This is the way they want to go. The question, though, is when he has played during his limited time on the field this year, Crawls, he's been quite disjointed, Lachie Galvin. That will come, obviously, the more time he spends on the field. But
they've got 8 weeks to get it right.
But the question I want to ask you, Gordy, is they have to score more points, because I don't think they can win the comp.
That's a question for a half.
Without Lachie Galvin. But they are a DNA defensive side. Does this mean that Cameron Ciraldo is now trying to alter the DNA 2 months out from the finals?
No, I don't think so. You're right, and I said it last night. I said that watching their attack on the weekend against the Cowboys, who are the worst defensive team in the competition, and only scoring the amount of points that they did, and actually the way that it was very clunky. And they haven't really evolved. There was a period there I thought they were evolving with Sexton, and I thought they could win the comp with him in half and the way that they were attacking. But after the weekend, I was like, I'm not so sure. So I could then I looked at the stats and I saw the stats, and when I kind of dug a little deeper and realised that they had support from the playing group, and it wasn't, them just chucking Sexton out to dry. The other players, believe in Galvin and want him there. I'm like, okay, well, this
players
changes
believe
things.
whoever's there, Braith.
No, not true. Not true.
That is true. Every week, that if the players are interviewed,
You're
who
right.
is the
We don't
incumbent
know.
7, they will say
You're right.
he's the best man for the job.
You're
And
right,
if
but
next
you-
week it's somebody else,
Yep.
the players will say, we
Yep.
support him.
I get it, but you believe in some players more. So, yeah, of course you go there and the 17 teammates you do believe in, but there's some that you just have a lot more faith and trust in.
See, I trust Cameron Ciraldo, right? And I rate him highly as a coach. And I think he can win them. I've said at the start of the year, I think that he can win them a premiership. That team they've got can win a comp over the next 3 to 4 years. They've gone better than I thought. He knows what it takes to win a premiership. He knows what attack he needs. He knows he's not getting that attack. Galvin's going to take time, and the jury's still out on Galvin. It's still out on Galvin. But he thinks that their best chance of their attack evolving and going to another level to match the likes of the Melbourne Storms and Canberra is with Galvin in it. And Sexton just didn't get there.
I think good luck to Galvin. He's a 20-year-old young man who's had the weight of the world on his shoulders in recent times. Like you say, no one would know what's going to work best for them than Cameron Ciraldo, but the proof will be in the pudding. And I guess the concern, is obviously, you talk about the Bulldogs need to grow a leg in attack, but when I think about the fact that they did lead the premiership for 2 parts of the season, and what they built their success on was their defence, their commitment to one another, and you would just hope that this doesn't pull apart their greatest strength to try and strengthen a weakness. And if you go back to Galvin's most recent game too, the old saying, you're only as good as your last game. Well, that last game, he was far from impressive in that game because he threw 2 bullets through Matt Burton's body and he gave Kickow another one. Like, I just wonder where this has come from on the back of that performance.
Well, this is the
What
risk.
you just said, Braith, was quite unfair. I don't know if it was a throwaway line, but you just said before, Sexton just didn't quite get there.
Yeah.
Surely that's debatable. He took him to the top of the premiership.
Everything's debatable, dog.
But he took him to the top of the
no,
table,
but
and they're now
what
running
I'm-
second, I think. So he did get them there.
No, what I'm saying is he didn't get to the level that they wanted in attack. They didn't evolve enough to match the likes of Melbourne, Canberra, even the Broncos with their attack. Their defence is great. Now, Ciraldo's put his balls on the line here. He's happy to take a few steps back right now over this 8-week period to then get in 6 to 8 weeks where they want to be. It may not work. This is a risk, and I've said that all along, and I'm not taking that back. It has been a distraction. But finally, we've wanted a call. This uncertainty and off the bench and go to 9 and you come on and play in the centre, Burton the centre. That's gone. He's made the call.
And it's a brave call. Like, you look at what Billy did in the State of Origin. He's backed himself that he's made the right call. But going back to the Bulldogs' attack, remember also that Stephen Crichton wasn't there on the weekend. When you think of their strengths, it's Burton, Crichton, Kickow, like that's...
To pin all your attack on 7, when there's a 6 that's played 18th man, you've got 2 big centres, you got a fullback and you got a number 9. They've all need to step up.
Because, like even going back to Cameron's comments last week about he can't understand, the ridiculous attention that Lachlan's received. But this takes it to the next level.
That's
it really
naive.
does.
It's naive to think that, that's where I disagree with Cameron. Like, it's naive to think or be surprised by the attention this has received, and it's going to continue. It's going to continue.
It'll go up to the next level now because the Bulldogs season is riding on this decision now because, they're a top 4 certainty. And a lot of people consider them, rightly so, as a team that could have won the comp without this change.
And just to go back, dog, Sexton has done a magnificent job. He has. Like, there is no denying that. And I feel sorry for him, and I've defended him a lot of the year. But I can see, looking at the stats was an eye-opener to me. Looking at the 0 line breaks and, he was down the bottom of all halves in the competition in terms of line break assists and all that. And I know it is harsh, but,
Look, I agree with the attack, Braith, and I agree again that they probably do need some spark there. But why are we trying to find a negative in a positive? Whatever they have been doing, whether it's been right or wrong in attack, broken. They are still in the top 2.
Yep.
So who's to say they desperately need an overhaul in attack? I think they do, but the general consensus is why? It's working.
Could be like Tiger Woods. He changed his swinging.
Yeah, honestly, it could. And this is the thing here, right? Like the head coach has made the call. He's made the call, and he'll live and die by that, as they all do, you know. But I think he's made the right one, you know, having more of a deeper look into it the last couple of days. Bulldogs bite, what do you got for us, Doggy?
Bulldogs bite. What I've done, Braith, is I thought I'd just question the amount of scrutiny that the public and those on podcasts and the media to some degree have on coaches. This year I've added up, there's 8 coaches who have been under the pump and we are 19 rounds in. Just because you have some short-term failures or a lack of success, you don't need to target them and to sack them. Hasler, Payton, Seibold, Maguire, O'Brien, Marshall and now Bennett. And you want to throw in Laurie, you can as well. 8 coaches who have been under the pump. It's July and the season started in March. It's got to stop. I think we have to start giving coaches a little bit more time. Yes, I know we in the media have to hold coaches and everyone in the game accountable. Why are you smiling, Braith?
Because we started the show on Adam O'Brien.
Well, you asked me what Bulldog bite was.
You're such a nice bloke,
You've made a career on
You're
it.
such a nice bloke.
We have to critique, but I think this collective
You were
pile
sacking
on.
Billy Slater last week.
Yeah,
Collective. Let me finish.
Is this because you made Laurie's job getting questioned? Is that
That's
why?
exactly where
I
this
just
is
think this
going.
collective
All of a sudden,
pile on
Laurie's on the chopping block.
is now rivaling the EPL and the NFL in America, and I just think it's becoming increasingly unfair.
Talk about a 180.
Anyway, Billy's going to go, so does
Can I
O'Brien.
get your response to this?
I just think that it comes with the job. You know, I remember one time I was on a drive somewhere and a local policeman is in the coffee shop and he's come outside and he wanted to have a chat, and at the time he was a Tigers supporter and he felt really sorry for Michael Maguire and what he was going through, and I said, mate, you know what? I said, I understand what you're saying, but save your sympathy. Michael Maguire was on $600,000 or $700,000. You know, the policeman's out there probably on 120. Nurses, doctors, everyone in their life has pressure on them. That comes with the pay packet,
You sound
mate.
like Anthony
when,
Seibold.
when you're in the big chair, mate, it comes with the pay
We're all
packet.
going to die.
That's what happens.
Listen, now, that's a low blow.
We're all going to die, Gordon.
Stay positive, dog. I loved your Bulldogs, Brian.
You know what?
It was brilliant.
3 losses now and everyone jumps on a coach's back. 3.
That's not true.
Rubbish.
That's not true.
What about what this bloke went through about a month and a half ago?
Yeah.
Maguire was gone.
But mate, unfortunately, Dog, these days there is so much focus on rugby league, and you respond and you analyse and comment about what's happening in the moment. Things change. Unfortunately, it's a part of the deal, mate, when you're a coach.
Love your work. Stick around, journos. This Sunday from 10 a.m, Tim Zoo fights to become a 2-time world champion. Live from Las Vegas. It's the only Australian fight worth watching next week, and it's only on main event.
That's a bad cut. Blood and guts warfare. Split decision.
You should have killed me the first time. Because I'm coming back with revenge.
The way I like to fight is to just break faces. And I'm going in there to hurt him.
From the ashes.
Victory by any means.
Boxing's only 8-division champion of the world. He's back. Manny Pacquiao. Brutality towards immortality.
It's Reynolds out the back for Walsh. Off chest there of Staggs, who puts it down.
That ultimately sums up this whole first half. Broncos in the attacking position looked like they were going to score. They're a team that know what they did wrong in the first 40, and they'll change it here in the second half.
So here is Staggs now, off Walsh. He's there backing up once again. Walsh gets it, coming across. De Groot, a big fendo from the Broncos superstar. That was some sort of move between two players who at halftime had quite an animated discussion. Walsh and Staggs.
They might have been disconnected in the first half, but they're on the same page here. Just the athleticism they have in their team is scary for the opposition.
Welcome back. That was our dynamic duo. Thanks to Vodafone. Double the coverage, and Maguire supports Stagg and Walsh with the on-field blow-up. But they were fine. I like seeing that. You know, they're competitive. They're on the field. They didn't get it right. They're good. And then the second half, they got it right.
Playmakers come across. they yell out something, you don't quite hear it, you run your line, they run their line, or they pass to the line that they think you're going to run, but you have it out.
Imagine the storyline though if they were losing at the moment, because that you talk about how it changes, and that's how it changes. They were far from impressive in that victory, but what is impressive is the amount of strike power they've got. Like, they're just scary.
Yeah.
If they get it together and they're playing at their best, like Mann was hardly sighted in this game. Ben Hunt's back playing hooker. They've got Tony Staggs is playing out of his skin. Reece can do anything. They're just...
It's such a running threat.
They really are. And it's one of those competitions where there's not... Like, even though the Storm are the standout, in many eyes, the favourites to win the competition, there's no clear champion side like Penrith were in recent seasons.
No.
And I look at the top 8 at the moment, and probably 9 or 10 teams that you think if any of them get into the top 8, they're a realistic chance of winning the comp.
No, I agree. And, you know, you said... Imagine this happened when they were losing. It wouldn't have happened when they were losing because they wouldn't have given a, you know what. Like their whole, you can see their mentality's changed. And this kid here, he's been a big difference. But I don't think they would have even competed over that or argued over that back then. It's a different body language. It's a different attitude. Now,
Madge would have loved that, Braith.
Yeah.
He doesn't want him to be passive. He wants the fire in the belly. He's not Madge just like Gordy. He wants the fire.
Yeah.
He wants a bit of aggression.
It's like the Blues dog, you know?
We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
But Walsh and Staggs, I did note a minute or two later, the try was scored by Walsh and they were embracing each other. So it didn't last long, but I don't think it's a bad thing.
They would just
Sometimes
expect a lot more from each
passion.
other. Like, there's no doubt that they're good mates because you can't spray someone that you're not good mates with, right? So, and then they just expect a lot from each other.
Now, Gordy, on behalf of Queensland, we want you to... you've got something to say.
Yeah, dog. Okay, so, you know, a couple of series that we've been right under the pump.
mate.
Dear dog. Dear Dennis the Bullfrog. And then we needed some inspiration and you gave it to us. So I just want to thank you on behalf of Queensland.
It's been a pleasure.
And we have certain levels like the Dick Tosser Turner medal or the Statesman, but you're going to get one of those.
Medal.
No, well, mate, you're going to get something higher than that.
What's that? Well, what was Maroon on, Gordy? So we're blood brothers, really.
Have you got a response? Because you've done it again, the New South Wales. You called them the biggest loser.
That was the club side.
Worst side ever.
That was the club side.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, now you say okay. So...
It was a precursor to Origin.
There you go. Look,
Can I just say,
club.
And our club sides are coached by 3 New South Welshmen.
What's that?
I just said our club sides are coached by New South Wales.
You've got 100% strike rate though, mate. You go back every time you bag Queensland State of Origin team, they win.
Do you three want a boring build-up?
Adam Mogg, worst team ever.
cliches?
Billy Slater slacked, mate.
Well,
you are a champion.
What about the
and
series in
Laurie's
between when I was
supposedly
right?
one of your best mates.
What about the series in between when I was right?
Which one?
When Madge was there?
Yeah, well, if you do it every year, you're going to get lucky.
Crawls, we've been trying to work out what went wrong with New South Wales, and we've had all the journos on, and no one's given me anything. No reason as to why they lost.
I tell you what, because Laurie Daly is such a wonderful bloke and so well respected, people are reluctant to put the boot in after a loss. But if you go back and look at the team that New South Wales had this year, how they started game 1, even though they were very clunky in attack, they were so far superior. And from that point on, as has been mentioned, they went downhill. They turned up for that game on Wednesday night. Again, we thought they had every reason to win that game. They were as flat as tacks. They went out, you know, commentators like Joey Johnson that said there was plan A, there was no plan B. Understandably, criticism's going to come at Nathan. I heard Nico Hines was quoted today talking about how it was so unfair, all the criticism that directed, and he no longer reads it, yet he seems to know every sentence that's said. But the point is, I don't think any of the criticism at Nathan was over the top or unfair or,
he said it himself,
personal.
Nathan.
It was just a fact. The last thing Andrew John said before that game the other night, what do you want to see from Nathan tonight? I want to see him own the big moments. And New South Wales didn't do that. And in effort areas, like Queensland were all over us. When you think of that Jerome Luai kick from the start where Hammer put Dearden through and how a few of our players clocked on, Dearden knocking To'o into touch and Ruben Cotter coming across, they were just up for that game, mate, and ours weren't. I reckon they need a complete investigation into what went wrong, and it starts with why Laurie got the job to start with.
They jammed us at the start of game 2. They took our time and space with their speed of the line, and we lost game 2 because of it. We came back and we adjusted in the second half. Did we not think that was going to happen again in game 3? And again, we weren't ready for it. We were too flat in attack. Our speed of the line was poor. And whose responsibility is that? Now,
but that's the key question,
off the back
Braith.
of that, right?
Whose responsibility was it?
Yeah. Hey?
Whose responsibility?
It's the coach.
Well, why are the players immune from this? And people will say, oh, your mates
The
with
great
Laurie.
players adjust.
These are $1 million professional elite
And
players.
it'll be the same $1 million professional elite players next year. So what's he going to do?
And many are the same from last year,
I've got no
Dom.
idea what he's going to do next year, but I'm saying they showed up with the wrong mindset. So they've got to shoulder their blame. Laurie came
have a coach
I think the players do
I'm
too.
just saying, Laurie shouldered his responsibility yesterday. But the players...
What was the response?
He said, we're looking into it right now, we're going to have a full review.
What was his response to why they lost?
He was still trying to work it out. He said the preparation was fantastic.
So he's still trying to find out why they lost.
I spoke to Craig Bellamy. Even Craig Bellamy, arguably the greatest... Well, he's the assistant coach, Braith. He said the preparation was as good as it gets. Okay. So why are the players immune here? As I said, elite athletes.
They're not immune.
I don't think the players are immune, but when we look at what Queensland did this year, Dog, on the other side of the coin, he got it so right. He made the tough calls that he was criticised about. When after that defeat in game 1, you thought there's no chance in the world Queensland are going to be in game 2, and they out-origined them. They went into game 3 and against all the odds, they won on effort. They won on origin football. He had them up for the fight. Our blokes weren't up for the fight, mate.
I agree.
Everyone can keep saying that they love Laurie Daly, and we all do, until we're black and blue in the face. Laurie Daly was my favourite player, and he'll be a legend of New South Wales, if not one of the best players to ever put a blue jersey on for the rest of his life. And that will not change regardless of his coaching. But some players don't transition into coaching, and it's not the end of the world. I just don't see the drama.
What do you want, Braith? Do you want him sacked after one series? We won every half bar to New South Wales. We scored more points.
You're going to go where Buzz was.
No, I'm not. I'm just going to say we scored more points.
What's his record?
And we scored more tries. I'm not worried about the past. I'm worried about this series right now. We didn't win. Okay. We were lethargic.
So what changes next year?
Well, I assume he'll pick a different side. He'll pick it on form.
So
I can't look into a crystal ball.
Okay, but if it's not him who changes, which is fine, he's going to have to make some huge calls. He's going to probably have to drop 5 players.
It's 12 months away. I mean, it could be 7 players. I don't know what he's thinking next year.
I reckon when we look back on where we went wrong, you look across at what Queensland did this year, and after game 1, Billy Slater made the toughest call at all. He sacrificed his captain to bring in Dearden because he thought, I need him to win. Now, Laurie said after the game the other night, we know he has a contract for next season. He believes he's the right man to do the job. But when they get through this review, mate, the people that employed him are the ones that have to sit down and think, did we make the right decision? And if there is any skerrick of doubt, they have to put the state first, because it's about putting the state first. And if he's not the right coach, you move him on.
Who would you have as coach then?
Look, if it was me, I would go cap in hand to Ricky Stewart and say, please, mate. No, mate. What happened was 2 years ago, before Maguire got the job, there was interest shown at Ricky. Ricky was keen on the job, right? But at that stage, the Raiders were not in the position they are now. They were a club on the build. They wanted Ricky to be around for the development of all these young players. If it would have gone pear-shaped for the Raiders at that point during Origin, it would have been bad for Ricky. They're in a different position now. I don't think there's any chance in the world that Ricky would undercut Laurie or take the job. But the year after, mate, he's the one they've got to go for.
I think we've lost 15 series of the last 20. So based on what you guys want, we would have had 15 different coaches.
I just think that the last series compared to this series in terms of motivation, enthusiasm and effort was chalk and cheese. No one likes change, but no one likes losing, Doggy. So anyway, thank you, boys. Up next, it's the Player's Perspective with Reid Marnie.
Kick it. Superb tackle, Dearden. He cleaned up 113 k's is a Villiamy kick out.
What a shot.
Now it's on to the left. It was finished off by Jeremiah Nene, who took every breath out of him there. Gets the call from his fullback. It's on over to Karma. Has hammered Laban. Now Robson Dean loses the ball. Marty went low in the tackle. Oh, Laban's lost it again for the Cowboys. Reed Marty epitomises the Bulldog spirit.
Welcome back. Those were our crunch time hits of the round. Thanks to Red Rooster. Reed Marty joins us now.
Thanks, boys.
You're on
Thanks for having
fire
me.
there. What about that? Crunching blokes.
Yeah, a few good tackles there.
Yeah, very good, very good. Great win on the weekend. A couple of losses in a row. How important was it to put that performance in and turn things around?
Yeah, I think based on the last couple of weeks, we've probably got really close, and probably, Broncos, we led 18-0 and just got things wrong in the last 20 minutes. And with a quality side like Broncos, they can beat you. You're never beaten really. So we learnt plenty of lessons from them games and against Penrith, and we come out against a Cowboys side who's fighting for everything. They were tough. They didn't really give us much, and we found a way, mate. And that's what we do best, is just compete until the end. And it was a good win.
Mate, you're a machine. 80 minutes on the weekend. It was hot. I think 60-something tackles. Are you an 80-minute player?
Yeah, mate. I think I am. I work so hard during the off season to get myself to that peak fitness, and I pride myself on it. You probably ask any hooker, they all want to play 80 minutes, and nothing better than playing 80 minutes, I feel. So,
congratulations on the new deal with the Cowboys. 3-4 years, I think, with an option, something like that. Now, how hard is it though to leave the Dogs? I mean, you've been there for a long time now. You've been a part of the rebuild. They're going really good at the moment. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, obviously it's always hard to leave a club. I left Parramatta, 4 years ago, and it's probably extremely hard to leave. But also, I'm so grateful for the club for what they've done to me. I came to the club when I was really struggling, and I felt like I was at the forefront of it and really helped build the club. And I've had my hand in the club's success over the last couple of years. And Ciro and Gus and what they've done to the playing group. I'm happy that I'm leaving. I talk about the purpose that I have in my rugby league, and it's to leave the jersey in a better place than what I found.
What do you think you've brought to the club? Because you said it's been, you got there when they were down the bottom.
Yeah, it was tough. Yeah.
So what do you think you've brought to that club that's helped?
Oh, I guess a little bit of leadership, mate. I feel like I played pretty tough footy, and I was able to help that. And I felt like when I went to the club, it was. We didn't know how to win, sort of way, and I feel like I had those traits in me, and I felt like I was added value to the club. Yeah. So wasn't no superstar or anything, mate, but based myself on hard work and willing to do whatever it takes, and I felt like I've had my hand in that and helping build in the club, and moving forward, I hope they have success for years to come. So it's a great place. Is
it going to be easier focusing week to week now, where there's no plan A, B, or C, and you didn't know what was happening with Galvin? Is it a better decision now that they've ripped the Band-Aid off and you know who your sparring's going to be?
It's always been happy, mate. To have someone like Galvin come from, the Tigers to our club, there's always going to be benefit for us, whether he was playing or not. He's a great player, he's a young kid, and what I've seen from the last 4 to 6 weeks of him arriving was he worked hard. He's the last to leave the field.
Yeah, what is he like? Because everyone watches this unfold in the media, right?
Yeah. He sees bad hair.
It is the talk of the town, whether we like it or not, whether you guys like it or not. Because it was such a high-profile signing, the situation around it with Tigers and Dogs, right? We know that. What's he been like? So how's he been since he's got there?
He's been great, mate. Honestly, imagine being 19 years old and he's had a lot of headlines going along with him, and he just came in and just worked hard, and as I said, he's the last one to leave the field, and he's learnt really quickly, which is a good thing. And but he's been great, and he'll learn great confidence off the field with the playing group as the weeks come on. But he's an added great member to our squad.
Yeah, what does he add in attack? Because you are a really good defensive side, and that's what you've built, the last couple of years on. So what is he going to add that Sexton couldn't?
Oh, mate, they're both great players. Yeah. As I said, Galvin's been working extremely hard behind the scenes, and so has Toby. So, he'll straighten up our attack, and and really put us on the front foot. And you know, they've both been doing a great job.
How is Toby?
He is good, mate.
Yeah.
He's been, as I said, he's been great for us all year, and tough for him to hear those. But no, such a team first, and that's what we stand by at the club. And you know, he trained extremely well today, and he'll keep putting his best foot forward to keep pushing to get back in the side.
He's had a great attitude considering everything that's gone on. Now, in defence, and even when I was at the Dogs, the success was built off defence and ruthlessness, hunting in a pack. And you guys have got that. And even on the weekend, your attack wasn't great, but the defence won you the game. How important is it to you guys? And what does it mean to you to be a strong defensive unit?
I think it's everything. I think you look at the last 4 premiers, you know, Penrith, they've conceded the least amount of points. You know, and you look at that, it only one that makes you defend well. So obviously we trust Ciro and his defensive systems and what he prides himself on, and we do the same thing. And you know, as I said, defence wins comps, and that's what we're striving to do.
Mate, what about the great Phil Gould? He's probably one of the biggest characters in the game. Is he active around the club? Do you see him a bit?
When he wants to come in.
Only when you win it.
Yeah, only when you win. I think
when you win and he walks in with a coffee. When you lose and he doesn't turn up.
He sits up the back, and when the attack's done, he walks out. So he's great to have around. He's a good laugh, and I'll tell you, if you want a good story from Gus, go sit down with him. He's always got a good story.
He's got some good ones.
He does.
Does he come and tell you stories?
Oh, every now and then he does.
A few war stories in the off season.
Yeah, he's got plenty. Yeah, he's got plenty.
Well, I tell you, mate, thanks for coming on. It's obviously been a big year. There's been a lot of speculation around yourself and Toby and Galvin and the Bulldogs, and we appreciate you coming in and giving us some insight into why you're having so much success. And good luck for the rest of the year, and
Thanks,
good
mate.
luck with the North Queensland Cowboys.
Buy some sunscreen.
Yeah.
Might need it.
Get ready for that off-season in the 40-degree heat.
Can't wait.
All right, tonight following NRL 360, it's face-to-face with Warriors halfback Luke Metcalf.
That's a bad cut. Blood and guts warfare. Split decision.
You should have killed me the first time. Because I'm coming back with revenge.
The way I like to fight is to just break faces. And I'm going in there to hurt him.
From the ashes.
Victory by any means.
Boxing's only 8-division champion of the world. He's back. Manny Pacquiao. Brutality towards immortality.
Welcome back this Sunday from 10 a.m. on Main Event. Tim Tszyu fights to become 2-time world champion Gorden. It is nearly here. Can he win, Timmy Tszyu? Will he win?
Absolutely. Absolutely he can win. He was really good in the first 2 rounds, got a bad cut. Hopefully he doesn't get cut again and he sticks to his game plan.
It's in your
and I hope he does.
It's in your favourite place too, Vegas.
Vegas, how good.
Hey?
We should have been there.
Oh,
Just
we're too
preparing
busy
for next
here,
year.
but we'll be there next year. So we can't wait. That's it for NRL 360 for tonight. Now it's time for Face to Face.